Hi, this is Kathie Bakken with Craft with Kathie. Thank you for joining me today. Are you stressed, overworked, bothered by holiday expectations, overwhelmed? I might have a solution for you. I have 3 different strategies that I'd like to talk about that I found very helpful for myself. The first one actually is crafting. It's a well-known fact that crafting helps alleviate stress, centers you, and calms you. And I've been doing crafts since I was a young child. Actually, I think my mom taught me how to embroider around the time I was around 6 or 7 years old, probably just to get me out of the way. So I've done lots of things over the years, including a lot of crochet that my grandma and my aunt taught me, and I really loved it. And then also macrame, and you name it, I've probably tried it. And what I found is recently, or not too long ago, I actually stumbled into Couture, and I found that I absolutely love it. I was amazed at how simple it was, how easy it is to create projects, how quick it is. It's a big difference from me starting an Afghan for someone as a gift and having to work on it 2 months or a month or a couple of weeks or whatever, and scrambling to get it done in time, or scrambling to get a baby blanket crocheted before the baby's born. I could actually create a finished product in one setting, and that I think is wonderful. I'm going to actually give you a demonstration. This is a transfer called Peace on Earth, the Dove, and it could come in multiple pieces. I have only cut off the one area with the branch because I'm actually going to chalk the text underneath it the way it is. And this is one of our boutique Aiden boards. It's a beautiful board, distressed frame chalkboard. It's reusable. And it's also magnetized. So if I had something with a magnet that I would like to attach to it, I could do that. And after I've applied my design, I could basically, when I want to change it, spritz it with a little water, hit it with paper towels, erase it, and apply a new design. So the boards are reusable, the chalkboards are reusable, which is great. Our transfers are made out of vinyl and silk screen. The silk screen is the clear part, the vinyl is the teal. They have an adhesive on the back, and they are reusable 8 to 12 times with proper care. To begin with, I'm going to fuzz my transfer, which basically means deliberately apply lint to the transfer, to the back of the transfer, to the adhesive, so that it doesn't stick, or the adhesion is a little diminished. It doesn't stick as strongly to the surface as if I had not done that. To do that, I'm placing it on a fuzzing cloth, smoothing it, and then lifting and picking up a little bit of lint from the fabric. Cleanup is a snap. Basically, you put it in a water bath, wash off any excess chalk, and then clean it with a Clorox wipe. Can't get much simpler than that. I'm going to smooth down the transfer, making sure that I don't have any air bubbles. everything looks good here. These are registration marks. There's a second piece to this transfer where I will line up the branch in the dove's mouth. And I'm going to use our bright white Chocolatology paste and our shimmer gold. The shimmer gold I'm going to use for the wings, tail, and branch, and the word peace. The rest I'm going to do in white. Applying chalk paste is as simple as buttering toast. You want to make sure that your paste is the right consistency, which should be between a yogurt and a sour cream. Spread the paste with a squeegee. Oops, and I went right over the tail, which I did not intend to do. Oh, you can see how I fixed that. A little bit of close area here with the wings. I'm going to come back and remove that tail and do it in gold. Anyway, as I mentioned, I started crafting at a young age, and I have done many different things. And there's something about creating something with your own hands and being able to hold it that I find amazing. By trade, I'm a computer programmer, software consultant, which I love. I love chunking out code and creating applications that solve clients' problems. I find it fun. However, I really have nothing to hold in my hand per se when I'm done, so I like the idea of crafting. Sometimes it's a little difficult to talk and work at the same time here. I apologize. Kind of lost my train of thought and got carried away, forgetting that I was doing this in multiple colors of chalk paste. Okay, let me do the wings and the piece. I love our shimmer pastes. They come in gold, copper, red, and silver. Removing any excess paste and putting it back in the jar, making sure I don't get any white on my squeegee, because I wouldn't want to put that in my jar of paste. Okay, I think that looks good. And let me come over here and get the piece. I'm not quite sure what I have here. I think I'm going to have a little bit of white. I wonder if I can lift this and clean it up first. Let's take a little peek. Yes, I think I could. As I mentioned, to remove chalk paste, spritz of water and a paper towel is all it takes. So let me come in here and remove that from the board. And I just really need to get it off the transfer also. See if I could do it without having to remove it and clean it up later. Yeah, that doesn't look really good. Let's see if I can get a little bit wetter of a paper towel in there. Nothing like making mistakes while you're live. Yeah, I normally do not clean a transfer like this. Sometimes things require extreme measures. Okay, let's try this and see how it works. I might have to come in here with a little bit of touch-up. And we know I already have to fix the tail. Oops, white all over, nice. Anyway, that's one of the reasons I really love crafting. It relaxes me, centers me, and gives me a break from the hustle and bustle of the everyday things. Oops. Wow, this is good. I dropped my squeegee in my paste. That's just lovely. Okay, let me clean my fingers a little bit here and get a clean squeegee and work my way out of this mess. Another strategy to deal with stress is something I discovered a few weeks ago, and it is actually called box breathing. It is used by Navy SEALs, and it's very, very easy to do. There's 4 steps to it. The first step is inhale to the count of 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 as you inhale. Then you hold your breath to the count of 4. And then you exhale to the count of 4. Then you pause and hold your breath again, or just basically don't breathe, to the count of 4. So it's inhale, count to 4, hold it, count to 4, exhale, count to 4 as you're exhaling, and then don't breathe, don't do anything for a count of 4, and then repeat over and over again until you're centered and calm. I think it works pretty good. I actually had the opportunity to use it last week when I was having a root canal. I found it distracted me, however, I also didn't focus very well on doing the box breathing. I was struggling a little bit with it because I was so nervous. Dentist is definitely not my favorite place to be. Okay, I'm cleaning my fingers so that I can lift this up and hopefully not get anything on the board. Notice I chalked over the white over these little registration marks, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm lifting the transfer from the bottom at a, ooh, that didn't come out right, at a 90-degree angle. My white paste seemed a little runny. I had actually added water to it, thought it was white fine when I checked it out before I started. And then of course when I started it seemed runny. And instead of stopping, I persevered. So it looks like it went on a little too thin. I'm going to come back here. Might as well clean up the tail right now. And see if I can chalk it again without fully removing the transfer. Otherwise I'll pull it off, clean it, and come back and do it. Oops. I actually chalked the line, the cut line, for cutting the transfers apart. Okay, let me lay this back down. This will be an interesting experience. I've never had this happen before, so we'll learn together here. I guess it's time for me to practice my box breathing, right? Nah, I think this is probably still too runny, but let's see what happens. I just smeared right into the gold. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Ah, not very good. Okay, let me throw this into the water bath. And cleaning off as much of the chalk as I can from it right now, which I left quite a bit on it actually. I'm going to let that sit a minute while I clean my board, and I might as well let my chalk dry out a bit. If you inadvertently add too much water, sometimes your chalk will thicken up, and the best way to address that is to add a spritz or two of distilled water. And you want to use distilled water because depending upon where you live, your water may or may not have chemicals or other impurities in it, especially if it's well water or whatever. I might have to take off the wing, I don't know. This looks like a kind of a soupy mess that I've made. Anyway, so you add water, a spritz or two of water, and stir it up until it's the proper consistency. If you inadvertently add too much water, like I obviously did, and my stubbornness insisted that I go ahead with it, thinking it was okay, then all you have to do is let the chalk sit out and dry a bit. Oh, I've dropped my little stir stick in there. This is quite a big jar of paste. And it will thicken up. And I am looking for another tool here. I have a multi-tool that I could stir that with a little bit better. I will come back to that in a sec. So, box breathing. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold your breath again for another 4 seconds. Or not hold your breath, don't breathe. And then repeat. And you keep doing it until you're relaxed and calm. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave that. Okay. I just need to get in there with a pointier object and clean it up. So the fourth strategy that I wanted to talk about actually was, or the third strategy I wanted to talk about actually was another way to calm yourself, and that's by looking at something that brings you peace and happiness. I think this dove is beautiful, and basically I was going to suggest looking at this to calm myself. Let me finish getting the rest of my chalk off of this. I'm going to quickly show you how you clean a transfer. And then I suspect that, well, let's see how this goes. I didn't remove a lot of the paste. I could have done a little bit better of a job of that. So you remove as much excess paste as you can in your water bath, and then use a Clorox wipe to clean the front. And then the back. And when you clean the back, you want to actually remove the lint that you had deliberately applied. I'm going to clean up my front a little bit more here and show you something interesting. This is one of our board erasers. If you notice, my gold shimmer paste left some of the color on the transfer. It doesn't hurt the transfer at all, but if I don't like the look, I could clean it up with a board eraser, and it usually removes most of the pigment that's left behind. But the pigment itself does not hurt the transfer at all. Like I said, the transfers are reusable 8 to 12 times with proper care. When you're handling the transfers, you want to make sure you always lift from the left, right, top, or bottom. You never want to tug it diagonally, is that it's kind of like fabric. And if you pull it on the bias, you can stretch and distort it. So let me clean off the fuzz. Oh, and our board erasers come in round pieces. I cut them apart because it's easier for me to handle a small piece. And that way I don't get the whole thing discolored at one time. I don't know. It kind of bothers me. Okay, and then I'm going to put this, to get it to dry quickly, I'm going to put it on the reverse side of our fuzzing cloth, sticky side up. And this will let it dry pretty quick. Please excuse me, I'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around. I needed to adjust the TV ears for Mom so she could watch her program. Okay, let me find my other tool to stir up my paste and get it to the appropriate consistency. This is our multi-tool. Kind of a funny shaped little instrument here. But it's perfect for getting under the corner or under the lip of the jars when stirring our paste. And I've kind of been a little messy here, and I have some dried chalk on the edges here, so let me mix that in. It'll thicken this up much quicker than waiting for it to evaporate. Good idea to, before you seal up your paste, after you've used them, is to give them a little tiny spritz of water on the top before you put the cover on. That'll slow them down drying out. And obviously I could have taken better care of this jar. Sometimes you're just so busy creating that the cleanup doesn't get the effort that it really should. This is one of our larger jars. I think, if I remember correctly, this was a 5-ounce jar. Okay, I think this is much more what I want it like. Actually, it's kind of weird. It reminds me of melted marshmallows here. Put this in the water bath and clean my fingers. Our chalk paste can be used on many different surfaces. Chalkboards are great, but they can also be used on any hard non-porous surface, such as glass, mirrors, wood, and lots of other things. The only thing you want to do is if you're using it on a surface that is not chalk couture, you want to wax the surface prior to using it, because you want to be sure that there are no loose wood pieces or loose paint that would come off and stick to the back of your transfer. You want the back of your transfer to be nice and clean so that the adhesive is nice and strong for the next application. Our transfers can also be used on fabric. When you use fabric, you want to use, instead of our chalk paste, you want to use our Chalkology ink. Oh yes, this is nice and sticky again. So let me fuzz it. When you use the inks, you want to heat set it after use, which is either with an iron on fabric or with like a heat press. Or if you're doing it on something like ceramic mugs, then you would put it in an oven or a toaster oven and heat set it as per the instructions for the particular surface. Ink's a lot of fun. I made a few baby onesies and some t-shirts, and I think it's a blast. I see a little bit of smudging here that I didn't wipe fully clean. Let me catch that now. And try and get this centered. Over what I'd already done. It actually looks pretty close. Oops, let's get the wings right. Sometimes it's hard to know if you should just start over. I think the bird is in a good place. I'm going to have to put the registration marks down again and hit a little bit more gold there. So let's do it. You may have noticed that I actually did not press down the transfer with my fingers after I laid it down, which explains part of the issue that I run into when I lift this again. Because there's a fairly open area of silkscreen there, I need to make sure that first of all it's nice and flat, no air bubbles, which I did have an air bubble around the wings and whatever, and actually have it tap down or go over it with a squeegee or my fingers a little bit tighter to make sure that it adheres nice and strongly so that my paste comes through in a nice even layer. Don't let your chalk dry on your squeegees like I just did. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to have to clean up my little line here, but that's fine. Let me see if I can go in and add a little bit of gold chalk paste here. And again, what did I do? I let it dry. Let me clean this up. I might be garbling up the wings because I just realized they're not fully aligned here. I guess when I screw up big. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, this live has surely been a comedy of errors of sorts. I hope this doesn't dissuade you from watching future videos. And I just put gold over the white. Just lovely. I have some problem with the white lifting again. I'm not quite sure why. I'm going to place this in my water bath. I thought my paste was dry enough, but maybe not. So I have to see what I'm going to do with that. Let me fuzz. I really need to wait till my white dries before I add this to it.
Hungry.
Okay, just a minute. Just a minute, sweetie.
So loud I can't hear nothing.
Okay. Excuse me one moment.
What?
Can you wait a second?
Sure.
Okay. I'll be right back. Got it? Okay. Trying to decide what I want to do. I'm gonna clean up the bird. And redo it. Box breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes life just gets in the way of things. I'm going to need to come back and finish this project on a second live later this evening, and I do apologize, truly do. My mom had a stroke, and I'm kind of watching over her this evening, and it's time for dinner, which is a little late. Still waiting for Dad to get back, but she's hungry, so what I'm going to do is take a little break and come back and make this a two-part live tonight. In the meantime, I will clean the transfer and show you what the third strategy is. I think this is a beautiful transfer. It's very peaceful and great. I mean, it's definitely well suited, obviously, for the holidays, but I think it's just such a beautiful image with such a great sentiment that it was what I wanted to exemplify another strategy for handling stress, and that's that is looking at something that brings you peace and happiness and a little bit of enjoyment. Even if you just sit there for 30 seconds and do your box breathing and look at it and enjoy, it will center you and it will definitely help alleviate stress. And remember, we don't have to do everything. I have a tendency to, I have to do cookies and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I finally realized you do what you do. You can do what you can. If you're stressing yourself out to the point that it's taking joy away from you, then you're doing too much. Stop. Don't create your own stress. I appreciate you watching this evening. If you would like to see additional videos like this, and you are not yet in my VIP group, by all means, you need to get in the VIP group. All you need to do is drop me a comment on the bottom below this video or below the live that says VIP, and I will send you a link to my VIP group. Or private message me with the letters VIP and I will add you to my VIP group. As a member of the my VIP group, you will be privy to some specific bundles, sales, and a ton of other videos and helpful hints and things. And I'd love to see you join my group. Thank you ever so much for watching. Have a great holiday and a wonderful life. Stay tuned for part 2 later this evening. Hi, welcome back. Well, I think I figured out what I was doing. First of all, I was angling my squeegee wrong. Normally I go more of like a 35 degree angle, and I think I was doing it more straight up and down. Issue number 1. Second is there was a large open space here, and I think I had an air bubble in there. So when I put it back on and smoothed it out, I ended up with a better result. So all I did here was add the second transfer, align the registration marks, and now I'm going to chalk it with the gold shimmer paste. And here I am doing the same thing with the squeegee. I don't know where I picked up this habit. It's definitely a new one. Okay, that looks more appropriate. You always want to lift your transfers top, bottom, left or right. You never want to pull a corner because as they're fabric, you don't want to pull them on the bias. Okay, that looks good. So I need to remove the registration marks. And to do that, obviously, just a spritz of water and a paper towel. Little pointy cotton swabs work really good for this too. Kind of in a little tight spot there. And that's it. So, third technique for eliminating stress is to find something that you find beautiful and relaxing. Focus on it, look at it, breathe, and relax. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great holiday and a wonderful life.